Anything else you want to say to your fans, man?
Man, shout out to Dante's Boxing Nation. You know, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Errol Spence Jr., my whole name, and just look out for me.
Yes, sir. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So in one of the most meaningful fights of the year, Errol Spence and Dennis Ugas, they're going to fight to unify the belts. And the winner of this fight is definitely going to fight Terence Crawford to become undisputed in the deepest division in boxing. They call 147 the glamour division because usually this is where the most special talent is, in the welterweight division. The fact that you have two of top threes pound for pound best fighters in the world in this division, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, proves just that. Just like when Floyd Mayweather, when he fought Manny Pacquiao, Floyd was considered pound for pound #1 the best fighter in the world. They had Manny Pacquiao ranked #2 the best fighter in the world because there's always an overflow of extreme talent in this division. So becoming undisputed at 147, that means beating someone like Dennis Ugas, Terence Crawford, or Errol Spence. That makes you the undisputed, not only the undisputed welterweight champion, but it makes you the undisputed pound for pound best fighter in the world. And that's why, once again, this is one of the most significant fights of the year, because the winner of this fight will fight Terence Crawford. Speaking of Terence Crawford, Errol Spence just recently came out and pretty much corroborated every single thing you guys have been hearing me say when it comes to people debating on who deserves 60-40, should it be 50-50, etc., etc., etc. Errol Spence, he came out and said word for word almost what I have been telling you guys. You see, basically what happened was Errol Spence said something like years ago, how he wants 60-40 or he wants that, etc., etc. And people, they took that from years ago and start using it today to try to defend Errol Spence as if Errol Spence was saying this himself. And I kept telling people, let Errol Spence speak for himself. You don't have to speak for him. Terence Crawford doesn't have anyone speaking for him. When Terence Crawford wants to say something, he says it, right? And Errol Spence did just that. Errol Spence, he recently came out and he made it very clear that it's no longer about him having a 60-40 split, him having a 70-30 split. He's saying we're going to do everything behind closed doors. And then he said something that was really interesting. He said, "to my fault," which basically sounds like he's saying, I should have kept that to myself. I shouldn't have came out talking about splits when we weren't even talking about making the fight at that time. I should have kept that behind closed doors. In fact, behind closed doors, he used those words. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and play the exact clip of what Errol Spence said. Check it out.
You mentioned Errol, you know, you starting out prior to you becoming a champion. You said that you were fighting for legacy. You want to be remembered as one of the greatest fighters in our era. And right now you're on a pathway to do that. But you mentioned the WBA, you have the WBC IBF belt, but there's one more belt that's out there, obviously Terence Crawford. I know he's gone on record and said that he's spoken with you, had some sort of conversations with you about potentially making a fight in the future. What do you honestly feel that it would take for you guys to, you know, potentially make that fight happen? I think that's the fight that all the fight fans are wanting, everybody's asking for, everybody's clamoring for, and it needs to happen.
It definitely needs to happen. I mean, we'll see after this fight. And, you know, to my fault, you know, it's something that, you know, I'm not going to talk about to the public and stuff like that. And things that, you know, oh, I need this, or he needs to do this, he needs to do that. You know, for me, boxers have, you know, we got ego too. You know, somebody telling me I need to do something, I need to do this, or he telling me I need to do this, I need to do that. You know, that just, you know, plays into it. So the fight not happening, that plays into it. So I just feel like, you know, it just need to happen behind closed doors, and Andrew, we're ready when you want something that our teams talk about, and, you know, hopefully the fight can be made. So, you know, I definitely think, you know, it's very promising, especially me snatching this other belt from Ugas. So we'll see.
So you guys heard it from Errol Spence. You can tell that Errol Spence is serious. You can tell that Errol doesn't really, it seems to me like if he does get past Ugas, which there's no guarantee he will, but the way he's talking right now, he's making it seem like there is no other option, just the Errol Spence fight. And realistically, there really is no other option, unless he's going to fight, you know, the #1 mandatory Virgil Ortiz, someone like that. But this is the fight, just like the reporter said, this is the fight that everyone wants to see. I always tell you guys, about 3-4 years ago, I didn't want to see these guys fight against each other because they were pretty much like the Michael Jordan and the LeBron James in the division, both on Team USA. And it made sense. I always told you guys, it always made sense for Terence Crawford to take care of everything on his side of the street and Errol Spence take care of everything on his side of the street. And when the smoke settles, there's going to be 2 men standing, and that's most likely going to be Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. And we'll see if that's the case after April 16th, when they fight, when Errol Spence fights Yordenis Ugas. Or it could be Yordenis Ugas pulling off another massive upset, and he gets the Terence Crawford fight. But however this plays out, it's great for the boxing fans, because we may just get to see one of the biggest fights in boxing, I'm talking about in years, when it comes to Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, especially if Errol Spence, he wins against Yordenis Ugas in impressive fashion, just like Terence Crawford did, becoming the first man to stop Shawn Porter. So we'll see how this plays out in April. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
My name is Chris, and I'm all the way here from Anchorage, Alaska at South Carolinas, and I'm here for my second treatment of SMP. Well, I was sitting at home one day and going over my Facebook page, and they have different, you know, like advertisements popping up, and I saw one for SMP, and I saw some pictures of some guys, you know, before and after, and I was looking at that, and you know, it caught my attention, so I Googled it. SMP, nothing showed up in my area. So, you know, I did a little more research, and all of a sudden, South Carolinas popped up in the web browser. So I started watching his videos and seeing all the reaction from all the other people. We talked on the phone, we made appointments and everything. I sent him pictures, and he looked at them, and I was like, can you fix this? And, you know, he pretty much said, no problem. My first session, he made me feel extremely comfortable. It was almost like I was talking to family. He started, and during the whole treatment, we talked, and, you know, about our families and our life, and, you know, and things that he does and things that I do. And before I know it, the first session was over. When you see someone doing something that they love, as much as I see Enoch Glover love what he does, it shows in his work. I wouldn't point anyone in any other direction but here to North Carolina, South Carolinas, to get this done.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Errol Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to erroldequay.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.